Minglava and welcome to MI Radio's Myanmar Today. I'm Aga Jo. Today we have reports on COVID-19 update on 14th May, highlighting no new confirmed cases, no new death, and 5 new recoveries. Another report is on 5 townships lifted from semi-lockdown restriction, and another news coverage on State Counsellor initiating homemade cloth face mask campaign, and the last report is on tea shops and restaurants are allowed to reopen. All of this on this edition of Myanmar Today, but for now, let's take a look at what's happening in local news. Labour ministers of ASEAN countries held a meeting yesterday through video conferencing to discuss the responses to impacts of coronavirus disease 2019 on employees and employments in the member countries. The meeting was organized by the Ministry of Human Resources in Malaysia. Myanmar's Union Minister U Thein Sui and senior officers joined the meeting, together with the Labour ministers and high-ranking officials from Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. The period for temporary measures to prevent importation of COVID-19 to Myanmar through air travel has been extended to 31st May 2020 to 11:59 p.m. Myanmar Standard Time with permission from National Level Central Committee for Prevention, Control and Treatment of COVID-19. The temporary measures issued by the Ministry of Health and Sports were first imposed on 29th March 2020 and extended once to 15th May 2020 before. More than 300 entrepreneurs have been granted the business loans in coronavirus period. That's according to the UMSCCI General Secretary U Win. The government has provided 100 billion jets coronavirus funds to the businesses affected by the pandemic. The World Health Organization (WHO) has declared new coronavirus disease as a pandemic on 3rd March. UMSCCI coordinated with the relevant departments, the experts, and Myanmar labor organizations to mitigate the coronavirus impact upon the economic sector. This being so, the government granted permission to provide 100 billion JETS loans to the business persons. As of today, 13 billion JETS loans have been provided to 300 businesses already. Myanmar began accepting the Myanmar migrant workers returning from Thailand on 1st May and accepted 38 Myanmar nationals who received penalties from the Thai government at the Myawaddy Friendship Bridge 2 yesterday. The returning Myanmar nationals were given health examinations and other necessary procedures with the assistance of the Kenyan State Little Representative U Tanzin Aung, District Administrator U Deza Aung, District Police Commander Police Lieutenant Talin U, Myawaddy District Immigration and Population Department Head U Aung Khain Sui, and relevant officials. This is the second batch of the Myanmar nationals returning from Thailand that have penalties imposed on them. That's all with the local news. Now we will move on to our first report. After announcing the case 181 on 13th May, the total number of COVID-19 confirmed cases in Myanmar reached 181 in total, with no new confirmed cases on 14th May. With 5 new recoveries, 89 patients are identified as recovery cases and 79 have already been discharged from the respective hospitals. Because of the slow rate of the confirmed cases, some changes have been made to the announcements of precautionary measures against the COVID-19.
According to the announcement issued by the Ministry of Health and Sports on 14 May, the total number of confirmed cases for COVID-19 infection is 181, with total 84 recoveries, including 71 persons who have already been discharged from their respective hospitals. It is reported that no new cases have been found on 14 May and 5 are newly recovered. In the recovered patients, the youngest patient of Myanmar, who is 1.5 years old, is included. No new death has been issued in the month of May. From the last week of April to the present, the infection rate of COVID-19 has been slow, except 7 May, on which 15 new cases were found in a single day. The precautionary measures against COVID-19 were announced to be still in effect till 15 May, and some changes to these measures have been made. The ban on mass gathering and the closures of public places like cinemas, courses, and schools are extended to the end of May. People on the streets failing to wear masks are fined in some areas. The restaurants in Yangon, which are now providing takeaway services, are allowed to reopen with the practice of social distancing at the shop. It is being planned to reopen the basic schools in July, which is 1 month later than the normal school year. The period of semi-lockdown in some townships of Yangon has been extended, but the semi-lockdown restrictions are eased for 5 townships, which are Mingladong, Buddha Town, Shuibida, and Line townships of Yangon region and Kalay township of Sakine region.
I want to advise the people to provide takeaway services if possible. But if they want to have the food at the shopkeepers have to make sure to practice social distancing and not to let group of people sit together by arranging for the tables to keep proper distance. The ward administrators have to take responsibility to supervise the measure. Even if some of the restrictions are eased, we need to have self-awareness that the virus can't be kept under control yet. And if you are infected, it will also be dangerous for your surroundings.
The most important issue to solve at present is to urge the people to wear masks, and public awareness raising programs are carried out at respective areas to remind the citizens to stay at home if possible, to wash hands and to wear masks whenever going outside.
I want to ask the citizens to wear masks more. It can reduce the infection rate. We also make announcements to raise awareness of wearing masks at the common places. We are trying to contribute the masks to the citizens. The price of surgical masks or disposable masks are now getting lower than before, and people can also wear homemade masks. Now it is in a good status of tracking the contact persons and managing the virus infection. If we can enhance the rate of contact tracking and testing, we can have better situation.
At present, we are guarding our street as usual by restricting people going in and out of the street. People going in and out of our street are asked to wear masks. The semi-lockdown period is extended, and it remains unchanged until the union government releases any new announcement. The ban on going outside late at night is still in effect. For the reopening of the shops at our street, we will discuss with the responsible persons of the street. If we decide to reopen, it is important to make sure not to have groups of people at the shop.
Out of 14 states and regions and Nepido Union Territory or Nepido Council area, 5 states and regions are still free from the virus, and over 4,000 people are under investigation in the whole country. This is Laura Susan reporting from MI Radio.
That's the report on COVID-19 update on 14th May, highlighting no new confirmed cases, no new deaths, and 5 new recoveries. According to the Ministry of Health and Sports, 4 townships from Yangon region and Kalay township were lifted from semi-lockdown restrictions, and the rest 5 townships have been extended the semi-lockdown restrictions indefinitely. Townships lifted by the semi-lockdown restriction are Langdaya, Mingladong, Shuibida, Buddha Town, and Kalay from Sakine region, starting from the morning of 15th May.
According to Ministry of Health and Sports, 4 townships from Yangon region and Kalay township were lifted from semi-lockdown restrictions, and the rest 5 townships where most of the COVID-19 patients were found out from Yangon region have been extended the semi-lockdown restriction indefinitely. Previously, there were 11 townships restricted to semi-lockdown. 5 townships have been restricted now. Utonji, 100 House Administrator, Dagwate Ward, Damwe, said.
The
semi-lockdown was just for 7 towns. Our township Damwe is included in list. Starting on 26 April, half area of the street's entrance in our ward were closed and checked all the cars and the people entered. If someone is not from our street or ward, we ask him which house he is from and then note down his details on the list. Hand wash basins are also planted at the corner of the street. We warn the people to wear the masks. There are 13 lanes in our ward. People from all corners of streets have been informed of the government statement. Right now, the number of people wearing face masks is over 60% and 30% are still wearing the face masks incorrectly, and about 10% do not wear masks. Those who fail to wear the face masks should be taken effective action during this period. We want the government officials to give the instructions to the in charge of the ward and township, like us, to instruct and how to take legal action precisely.
Townships lifted by the semi-lockdown restriction are Laindaya, Mingalado, Shuepita, Bodata, and Kalib starting from the morning of 15th May. But Insay, Mayango, Damwe, South Okalapa, and Baberan townships are still under semi-lockdown restriction period extended indefinitely until the government issues further orders. Except government employees and factory workers, assembling more than 5 people and going outside unnecessarily are prohibited. And only emergency rescue services, authorized freight services, markets, and for health issues are allowed, and disciplinary action will be taken. Wu Jolintao, a taxi driver, said,
ဒီစီးပွားရေးတွေလည်းရှင်းပြရတော့ဒီကအကုန်လုံးကျတာပေါ့နော်စီးပွားရေးတွေလည်းမရှိကျွန်တော်ကရင်မောင်းတက်စီရင်မောင်းနေဆိုလဲအော်ဒါမရဘူးပေါ့နော်
Due to the semi-lockdown, our taxi owners have been in a bit of downturn. Taxi drivers also do not receive many orders. Some get their first passengers until lunch. The virus is most likely to spread if a large number of the people do not comply with the wearing of the face mask. The outbreak period is also going to be longer if so.
According to the announcement issued by the Ministry of Health and Sport, the total confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Myanmar reaches 181 with 146 cases only in Yangon on the morning of 15th May. It also announced that it would take actions under the Prevention and Control of Communicable Diseases Law if the public fail to wear the face masks while going outside. I am Pyothi Ritu. This is news reporting from MI Radio.
That's the report on 5 townships lifted from semi-lockdown restriction. Stay with us as we bring you more reports on Myanmar Today. To solve the problem of not being affordable to buy surgical masks for daily use, the cloth mask can be made at a cheaper price. Now the citizens are highly interested and participating in the homemade cloth face mask competition initiated by State Counsellor Aung San Suu Kyi. They are showing the pictures of the cloth face mask they made, and the State Counsellor appreciated the effort and participation of the citizens.
When wearing masks is counted as the important measure against COVID-19, the citizens are highly urged to wear face masks whenever they go outside. However, not everyone is wearing masks because of different reasons, and one of the reasons is that the surgical mask of disposable masks, which are single-used, became expensive for daily use, and they are also sometimes out of stock. To solve this issue, the Ministry of Health and Sports advised to wear homemade face masks and provided guidelines of how to make safe face masks at home by oneself. To raise the habit of wearing masks among the citizens, State Counsellor Aung San Suu Kyi, who is the chairperson of National Committee on Prevention, Control and Treatment of COVID-19, initiated the campaign for making homemade face masks. She announced on her Facebook profile that the citizens can participate in the homemade mask competition by showing the picture of the mask made by themselves on the comment section of her Facebook. She herself also posted the picture of wearing the cloth face mask made by herself.
State Counsellor ရဲ့အခုပြုလုပ်ကျင်းပထားတဲ့ဒီ mass campaign လေးရဲ့ရည်ရွယ်ချက်ကပထမတစ်ချက်ကတော့ဒီလူတိုင်းအပြင်ထွက်တိုင်းမဖြစ်မနေ
I think the purpose of homemade face mask campaign by the state councillor is to raise awareness of wearing masks whenever going outside and to express the citizens that they can have cheap face masks by using the extra clothes at home. I am excited to make a face mask all by myself and I am happy to use the neat face mask I make.
Since it is not the single use, it can reduce the cost and everyone are affordable to make the homemade face masks. The mask can be easily made by using needle and thread or by using sewing machine. The state councillor also invited the men to participate in making the cloth face masks.
ကျွန်တော်တို့အပြင်ကိုခဏလေးပဲထွက်လိုက်တယ်ဆိုရင်တော့မှပြန်ရောက်လာပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဝတ်ဆင်ထားတဲ့တစ်ခါလုံး mask တွေကိုစွန့်ပစ်လိုက်ရတာဖြစ်
Even if we go outside for a while, we have to throw the masks we wear when we come back home. It can increase the waste production. Moreover, for these who cannot afford to buy surgical masks for daily use, the reusable homemade face masks are useful. When I make the cloth face masks for the first time, it is quite difficult, but when I make more, it becomes easier.
The state councillor appreciated the effort of citizens participating in the competition and she said that this competition is highly supported to raise awareness of wearing face masks among the citizens. Moreover, some women are making many cloth face masks to distribute to the citizens. Donors provide the cloth sheets to the tailor.
ယောဂတွေကာကွယ်ဖို့အတွက် mask တွေတက်မယ်ဆိုတော့တည်င်းတွေကိုဖတ်ရတဲ့အချိန်မှာကျမတို့က mask တွေတက်ဖို့စုံစမ်းလိုက်တဲ့အချိန်မှာဈေးတွေကလည်းကြီးတယ်
When we are told to wear face masks to prevent from the disease, I cannot afford to buy disposable masks. So I use the extra clothes I have to make face masks for my family, and I also distribute it to the neighbors. Most of the people in our ward are not wearing masks because they cannot afford them. When our Damwe township is under semi-lockdown, wearing masks becomes a must. Now our residents of the ward are together making cloth masks to donate to the residents. We donate about 100 to 200 face masks a day.
Not only wearing the mask during the outbreak of pandemic, the state councillor said that she wanted to introduce the habit of wearing masks whenever feeling sick to the citizens. She said that the citizens are explaining why they participate in the homemade mask campaign and these reasons are the solutions to the changes and development. That's all about the homemade face mask campaign by the state councillor. This is Dora Swison from MI Radio.
That's the report on state councillor initiating homemade cloth face mask campaign. The government is planning to reduce the nighttime curfew hours from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. to 12 midnight to 4 a.m. That is in regard with the restriction imposed early April in regions and states. Many shops, factories, and some businesses in the commercial city Yangon had to be closed for a month as part of COVID-19 preventative measures. Some of these shops, like restaurants and other businesses, are set to reopen on 16th May in accordance with the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health and Sports.
The government is planning to reduce nighttime hours from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. to 12 midnight to 4 a.m. regarding the restriction imposed early April in regions and states. The city has become alive with a teeming crowd over the past week. For the past month, many shops in the commercial capital, except those selling food and medicine, and some factories and businesses have been closed due to the restrictions with regard to COVID-19. Some of these shops, like restaurants and other business, are set to reopen on 16 May in accordance with the guidelines issued by the Ministry of Health and Sports. Speaking to MI Radio about the matters relating to reopening of the restaurants and other businesses, Ujojoton Yangon Region Lutto representative from Line Township said.
သူတို့မှာရောင်းအားတွေလည်းရမ်းကျသွားတဲ့အတွက်ဆရာတို့ကတော့ဒါကိုတော့ခွင့်ပြုမယ်ဆိုတဲ့သဘောမျိုးပေါ့နော်ဆရာတို့ဒေါအောင်ဆန်းစုကြည်တို့လည်းပြောထားတယ်ဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒါလေးကတော့အဲ့လိုသဘောပါ
The restrictions on restaurants to be lifted in all townships in Yangon will take effect on 16th May. The government will allow all the tea shops and restaurants except bars and KTV, which are not necessary. Since the tea shops and restaurants are not big businesses, some can't stand for months. But those restaurants have to follow the rules that are restricted by the Ministry of Health and Sports, like social distancing and wearing masks. As the COVID-19 Prevention Committee, we will collaborate with the Yangon City Development Committee and watch the restaurants around Line Township that they really do follow the rules. On the other hand, it will be good effects on the businesses and careers for day laborers and working class people. So I would like the people to follow the rules and law during this period.
Due to positive COVID-19 cases found in townships of Yangon, the Yangon regional government has placed semi-lockdown on 7 areas: South Okalapa, Papedan, Bahan, Mayangon, Insane, Shuebita, and Langdaya since 18 April. The regional government announced a further semi-lockdown on 3 townships: Budatao, Damwe, and Mingaladong. Before the semi-lockdown period, the government ordered the shops, the business and restaurants from 12 April to 15 May to prevent the spread of COVID-19. It has lots of effect on the day laborers and working class people. U Tanangso, who is the owner of the Shui Knitted tea shop, spoke to MI Radio about how he is struggling for his business during the past month and his feelings. He said,
ဝန်ထမ်းတွေလည်းသူ့ရထားနေပြန်တဲ့လူရှိတယ်လို့အပြန်ကြတဲ့လူလည်းရှိတာပေါ့အပြန်ကြတဲ့လူတွေကြတော့လည်းသူတို့ကျင်းတဲ့လောက်တဲ့အလားအသာမျိုးနဲ့ပေါ့
I opened the tea shop last year, but I have to close the tea shop since March because of the spread of COVID-19. There are lots of difficulties. Most of the workers went back to their hometowns, and we have to fire some workers to manage our finance. Even though we didn't lose our customers, but there are only few customers. By the takeaway service, I cannot hold the business for long. We will give our services by following the rules that are restricted by the Ministry of Health and Sports. I told my workers to wear the mask and wash hands. I will reopen my tea shops with only few tables because the social distancing is very important right now. I'm very pleased about the reopening because there are lots of workers who works for me and it is really good for them and for me too.
Go Piego, the waiter from the tea shop, also shared his pleasure with MI Radio about how he is struggling for the shop he is working. He said,
There were a lot of struggles for me last past month when the restaurants started to provide takeaway service. Last month, we only got a few salaries. Our shop owner told us to wear the masks in serving the customers and to stay 3 feet apart from each other for social distancing. And also last month, there were only a few customers and we were really worried about the jobs. But now I'm very pleased to serve our customers.
On 12 May, the government announced that the people from 44 townships of Yangon must wear masks when they go out of their houses. People leaving their homes without wearing face masks will be charged under the law, and gathering in groups of more than 5 people is also prohibited without the prior consent of the respective ward administration.
And that's all we have for today's reports, and it's time to check on some international news here on Myanmar Today. The French pharmaceutical giant Sanofi has rolled back on an apparent promise to prioritize the U.S. market with any potential COVID-19 vaccine. Sanofi CEO Paul Hudson sparked a row by saying the U.S. government had the right to the largest pre-order because it's invested in taking the risk. French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe responded by saying access for all was non-negotiable. Sanofi chairman has now vowed equal access for everyone. European Medicines Agency says in the best case scenario, a coronavirus vaccine could be ready by early next year. The Amsterdam-based agency says it's looking at over 100 treatment options for COVID-19 from 33 developers and working to speed up the approval process. Some countries are cautiously lifting lockdown restrictions amid the coronavirus pandemic. In the United States, some areas have already begun reopening businesses, while others are debating plans to get their economies moving.
Across the country, hair salons, restaurants, cinemas, and gyms in some places welcoming people back. Eagerly, but cautiously, with new guidelines in place, masks to be worn, capacities limited, and social distances maintained. But that may prove difficult in some places, like in the air. Americans are starting to fly again. The number of passengers going through security is at its highest level in 6 weeks.
There's a smart way to do this. We need to ensure that we're doing everything we can to prevent unnecessary additional preventable risk for our passengers.
Some parents are eager to get their kids back to school. But is it safe?
I have 39 kids in my classroom one year. How are you going to socially distance 39 kids?
With many states pushing to reopen even before meeting Washington's criteria to do so, public health experts are warning of a possible surge in new infections and deaths. In some states, infection rates are still going up. Officials are trying to balance those concerns with the economic cost of remaining closed.
The scope and speed of this downturn are without modern precedent, significantly worse than any recession since World War II.
In Las Vegas, culinary workers told they'll soon go back to work staged a drive-by protest. They're demanding transparency in the state's plan to reopen casinos, a major source of revenue for Nevada. Specifically, they want to see the safety plans for doing so. The University of California said it's unlikely its campuses will reopen in the fall. That includes UCLA and UC Berkeley. It affects more than 250,000 college students, including thousands from China. And Broadway's bright lights will remain dimmed through the summer.
South Sudan has begun to see COVID-19 spread into camps for internally displaced persons. Nearly 200,000 people live in such compounds run by the United Nations.
South Sudan's health ministry says it is concerned that the number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country is rising in the community, but also in camps for internally displaced persons.
We can say now the outbreak is not only centered in Juba, but areas like Yei River County have confirmed cases, 7 cases, and Abyei administrative area also have confirmed 1 case. And we have 1 case confirmed also in Unity State, Rupkone, and this case resides in the protection of civilian side in Bantu.
The United Nations is also reporting 2 cases at an IDP camp in the capital, Juba. Relative peace is returning to the country as a result of the implementation of a 2018 peace deal. However, nearly 190,000 South Sudanese people are still sheltering in the United Nations compound. Officials are worried about keeping the outbreak under control, with the outbreak now confirmed to have spread to IDP camps.
Maybe the worst is actually to come because of our weak health systems, but also we have our own peculiarities. We have populations that are affected by food insecurity, malnutrition, a high burden of tuberculosis and HIV, all of which reduce your immunity and predispose you to developing very severe disease symptoms if you contract COVID.
The crowding in the protection of civilian camps is concerning authorities, with tents used for sleeping set only 2 meters apart from each other.
And that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining me on Myanmar Today. I'm Akajo. Have a great day, everyone. Stay home, stay safe, practice good personal hygiene, and follow instructions strictly, and always be on high alert for important news. Goodbye.